Hello, it's May 20th, 2021, and this is the weekly Backdrop developer meeting where we talk about the latest tickets and priorities for Backdrop development. We like to do little introductions before the start of these meetings. I'll go first. My name is Nate Lampton. I'm Quick Sketch on the internet from Oakland, California. And today, yeah, it looks like we have a pretty short little agenda of things to cover. Let's go to Robert Lang.
I'm Robert Lang, a bug folder on the internet from Altadena, California. And I'll pass it to Justin.
I'm Justin Christopherson. I'm in Denver, Colorado. I just help out with infrastructure here and there and anything I can do. I'll pass it to Greg, I guess.
Hey, I'm Greg, usually in Australia, but now in Greece. Just joining for the regular updates, weekly updates, and help wherever I can. I'll pass it on to Joseph.
Hey, I'm Joseph from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm backend developer. Try to help out where I can, mostly with like performance things though, or things that take way too long.
Jen, Jen is the last.
Jen? Yeah, okay.
I'm Jen Lampton, joining from Oakland, California. I'm excited about our short list today. Give it back to Nate.
All right. We don't have any updates today as far as peripheral websites like the forum or localization site or even the main site itself. It looks like most are just going to go straight into product update. So the big news, of course, is that on Saturday this past week, we released 1.19. So that new version of Backdrop is now out and in the wild. Very exciting. Is there a blog post out about the 1.19 release? No, not yet. Okay. Looks like marketing, we're working on catching up with that. But that was very exciting. We had a kind of a mad rush there at the very end, not getting in new features, but compiling a list of last minute bug fixes and patches. In particular, we had a batch of Drupal 7 cross ports. One issue that we worked through, about like 16 or so cross ports that pulled into Backdrop. Nothing really substantial there in that cross porting list, though. Just like small things here and there. Gregory, is there anything of note that you can recall that?
Not much, just small changes, as you said, just to bring the sourcing priority and core priority with B7 as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, 1.19 is now out the gate. So that makes 1.18. We also made a new release of 1.18, 1.18.4. That's the final release of 1.18, unless there's security releases that might be coming out down the road. We continue to maintain 1.18 until 2 releases. So when 1.20 comes out, then 1.18 will get support, like fully stopped getting updates. So 1.19 is now the next bug fix release. 1.19.1 will be the first set of bug fixes that we'll be working on. One big issue that has cropped up is an issue with backup and migrate module and the PHP 8 support that we added into 1.19. This is a problem both with Drupal 7 and with Backdrop. It appears that because we took, for the most part, the same approach as Drupal 7 did regarding PHP 8 support, and there was one really big problem with the database abstraction layer, that the database abstraction layer previously had been extending the PDO classes from PHP itself, and that is not allowed anymore. So the workaround of kind of internalizing the PDO object inside of the select queries has caused a has caused a compatibility problem with backup and migrate. Joseph, did I make a technical error there?
There was a slight technical error. You can still extend the PDO class. The problem is that our query method had different parameters from PDO's query method, and having different methods from your parent class is no longer allowed.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. So we have an issue 5094 that is tracking this sort of problem. The backup and migrate maintainer for Backdrop has been working with the backup and migrate maintainer for Drupal 7 because they both have the same problem. It's unclear quite what the solution is at this point. It's likely that there'll be some combination of like fix and backup and migrate plus a fix in Drupal core. It seems like initially there was some larger problem with backup and migrate that they've already made. The maintainers already made a new version of backup and migrate for Backdrop. But my understanding is that there's still a bigger issue that may require some core changes. I think that that's the state of things because we posted an announcement saying that a new version of backup and migrate was out and that it's recommended to upgrade it at the same time. But there still seems to be an issue that requires some collaboration between the core team and the maintainer for backup and migrate. So it's still kind of an evolving situation. We're not quite sure what the solution is there yet. Let's see, does anyone have anything to add on that issue? Any additional information that you guys have? No? Okay.
Sorry. In one of the issues, someone recommended adding implementing the _ call magic method and redirecting that to the PDO, redirecting anything that comes into there to the PDO object. That is something I had thought about, but I was not sure if we want to use magic methods on our classes as like official policy.
Generally, no. I think, and I don't know about official policy. Honestly, I only have my personal preference, which is magic methods are extremely difficult to track how they're working and what is getting called. So I prefer not to use them, and IDEs can't track stuff that goes through magic methods. So I have a strong preference for avoiding them because they're hard to document, discover, and to debug. Like there's almost nothing good about magic methods in my opinion.
Are they problematic with PHP versions, like older PHP versions?
They've been
Joseph.
around for a long time.
Because we officially support 5.6, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, the big problem is what Nate said. It's really hard to track down when you're using them because it essentially you implement the magic method and then people can just make function calls against your class with whatever name they want and it'll kind of sort of work.
Yeah, and yeah, I would avoid that. I think that Joseph, if it's a matter of making it so that the child or like the PDO methods are accessible at another layer, then maybe the PDO object can just be made available as a property or through a method or something like that, and then you could call the function that you need directly on the PDO object from outside of the query object. You know, if that's the problem, but I'm not actually sure if that is quite the problem that we're facing here or not. It seems like it has something to do with the curly braces that we need a way to be able to replace them.
Right. Well, the issue is that the PDO's prepare method is no longer available at the top level. So we can't. It did change a lot more behavior than I was initially expecting. So I guess yeah, making it available making it a public property instead of a protected property would probably fix that.
Or maybe we can leave it protected or private and put like a get PDO or something like that method on there to like return the object.
Okay.
But I think, yeah, let's communicate with the backup and migrate maintainer. You know, we'll keep tabs on what Drupal 7 is doing, because I'm sure that they're facing the same problem, and try to come to a solution that everybody agrees on. It would be nice, you know, because we are constantly trying to track the changes that are happening in Drupal 7. Like eventually we'll probably get an issue that's like, you know, port the fix from Drupal 7 core. So really it would be nice if we landed on the same solution there rather than needing to reconcile those two things later. Okay, let's see. Speaking of PHP 8 support, our PHP 8 support isn't 100% complete. We have issue 5076 to track further changes that are needed for full PHP 8 support. This one's only split out because the initial issue that we had for PHP 8 support was getting rather long and unwieldy, and so this new issue is intended to be a meta, and then we make new issues for the individual fixes that we need there. So the obvious thing for us to start from is that there's still a number of Drupal 7 patches that we can pull from, but even with the full set of Drupal 7 patches, the full test suite doesn't run against PHP 8 at this point. So the most comprehensive way to get these problems fixed is to run the test suite with PHP 8 environment. Using Lando or DDEV is a really good and pretty easy way to accomplish that these days. Run the full test suite and then work through the test failures to get all of the individual issues solved. But yeah, we still have some Drupal 7 cross ports that are the obvious place for us to start. Let's see, and one last thing on cross ports. Gregory and Indigo Zella have been working back and forth on getting up to date with Drupal core cross ports. Gregory opened a new issue for cross ports from Drupal 7.70 to 7.75 at issue 5091 and cataloged all of the patches that were in those 6 releases into one big meta issue, and is working through pulling all of those items in. So thank you for the work there. No pull requests yet on those issues, but you're sorting out which issues actually still apply to Backdrop and which ones don't.
Yeah, there are actually a couple of pull requests, but yeah, this is nothing. There's another, I don't know, around 20 to work through, but yeah.
Okay. Let's see, that's kind of the state of things for 1.19.1. We have those that really big high profile issue about trying to fix compatibility with backup and migrate peripheral to the PHP 8 support, and then continuing to expand PHP 8 support so that every part of Backdrop works with the latest version of PHP. Let's see, an issue that cropped up during the code sprints that we were having on 1.19, right at the end of a release, like we have been these past couple of weeks. There's always this like surge in activity where we get a lot more collaborators trying to get in the things at the very last moment. And whenever that happens, it makes apparent some of the deficiencies in our tooling, because a lot of people are getting frustrated with running the tests, automated tests currently being provided by ZenCI, that the test results, like the pages wouldn't be accessible, or they would go missing, or we would get random failures. Some of those are related to our tooling, like on ZenCI, and some of them are issues with core. But it caused a bit of frustration. So a new issue was opened in the, let's see where it was. There's a community group in the Backdrop ops. Hang on, let me try to find out where this issue is. Find an alternative to frequently problematic Zen CI. It is under backdrop ops / backdrop community issue number 1. So I think this is a new group for discussion around community issues. This is kind of interesting because this is almost like a core issue, but I don't know. Anyway, the discussion started there. Alan Melza opened it. Herb Duel, BW Panda, Greg, Joseph, and some others have been communicating back and forth about various options there. The most obvious candidate is that we would use GitHub Actions purely because it's integrated into GitHub. It's free. There's no limit on it for an open source repository such as ours. And yeah, it's already there. So, and we are planning on using GitHub Actions for code linting, for checking like PHP syntax and code style and things of that nature. So we had been trying to see if it would also work as a tool for running our automated tests. And so to that end, there's issue 4753 that is just like, if we were to use GitHub Actions, what does that look like? And I did some benchmarking on how fast GitHub Actions can run, and I didn't put in a whole lot of effort into making this comprehensive, like running different versions of PHP and different versions of MySQL and stuff like that. But the proof of concept gave us some idea of the performance that we can get running GitHub Actions, and so far it's a bit disappointing.
What's the issue number?
It's issue 4753. And yeah, Joseph, you having done a fair amount of optimization on the test runs, it would be really interesting to get your insight there. There were some suggestions that I recall that you've said that like using MyISAM is something that can really speed up the test runs. And it was suggested that there's a new version of MyISAM called Area that supposedly is supposed to be like the new version that is supported in MariaDB and newer versions of MySQL. And it using Aria did help a little bit, but then there was also some suggestions that we put the MySQL data directory directly on a memory partition. And when we do that, that speeds up test runs a bit as well, but it also negates the benefit of using the Aria database engine, and InnoDB ends up being a little bit faster actually when using a memory partition. But
Do you know how many of the tables are successfully converted when you do that?
When I do what, the Aria
So-
engine or the InnoDB on the memory partition?
So I mentioned this a couple weeks ago in a meeting, but I was saying that on certain versions, it doesn't actually convert the tables to MyISAM. And I finally figured out what was going on, and it's essentially if you're using, if your server supports UTF-8 MB4, then the names of your tables and your indexes are too long to be converted to MyISAM. And if you switch to a characters, if you can either disable that or disable the code in Backdrop that forces everything into UTF-8 MB4, then it'll successfully convert all your tables to MyISAM.
Yeah, I think I ran into that problem, that it wasn't converting them because, and it would like fatal out when it wasn't successful in converting them. So I'm pretty sure that the new approach actually did end up working, but I ran into the problem when trying to convert to MyISAM because of that key length problem. But when converting to Aria instead, it didn't have that problem. So it was converting them into Aria successfully, but I'm not actually sure if Aria is as fast as what MyISAM was previously. It definitely did improve the test run times overall using Aria versus InnoDB straight up. by like 25% or something like that, or maybe 20%. So it was significant enough to see that there was actually something different happening, which was good.
Okay.
But then once I used a memory partition for InnoDB, the benefit was gone. And I saw that we actually have some code comments in our own test running that switching to InnoDB really only gives you the benefit if you're not running on a memory partition. So I thought it was funny. We actually had a code comment saying, if you run on a memory partition, this probably won't help. And sure enough, that kind of turned out to be the case. But the takeaway with all of this, though, is that GitHub's runners are a lot slower, unfortunately, so far. With the optimizations, as best I could get was about half an hour to run the tests on PHP 7. And that's versus like 5 minutes on ZenCI. I mean, a huge difference, 6 times slower on GitHub Actions than it is on ZenCI. And I don't know quite why that is. The number of cores for a GitHub Actions runner is only it's only 2 cores and it's only 7 gigabytes of memory. So it might just be purely the size of the machine, or there might be some other optimizations that are on ZenCI that we can still replicate onto GitHub Actions. So yeah, I'm not quite sure where to go from here with GitHub Actions, honestly. I think that 6 times slower runners might be a tough pill for people to swallow. So I don't think that I can really push forward saying we should use it anyway when it's that much slower. Another option would be using external runners, like GitHub Actions that you have hosted runners that could be a lot faster potentially, but then we'd be maintaining our own infrastructure of GitHub runners, and it's not particularly clear that that would be a whole lot faster either. So yeah, so where we go from here, I'm not totally sure. Maybe we look at other providers again, because we don't need to say GitHub Actions is going to be definitively the final one. Any other thoughts from those present? Okay. All right. Let's see. That's all we have for 119.1 as far as priority bug fixes. There are still a huge number of issues in the next milestone. Looks like 76 open issues for 119.1. So there's still lots of known issues to prioritize if you're looking for something actionable to move on right now. 119.20 will be the next minor version of Backdrop. We have the summer to work on it. Yay, kind of exciting. So it will be coming out September 15th, 4 months from now, more or less. And we kind of have yet to revisit what are the features that we're going to target for 1.20. The most obvious things are the ones that carried over from 119. That includes an exposed file name filter for the media library dialog, issue 3293. Let's see, the field has value visibility conditions for layouts, issue 4728. The saved draft module in core, issue 3157. It actually looks like I thought BW Panda was the advocate for this one, but Gregory, did you just add this to the agenda?
Yeah, at some point. Peter just joins the company that I work for, so he's overwhelmed, so he removed himself from being advocate. And I sort of decided to take over because I want to see that get in. But if Peter changes his mind, he's more than welcome. I have a long list of things that I want to work on, so there's always exciting things.
Okay. Let's see. Things that also carried the advanced caching, cache tags, and cache max age, issue 4127. Joseph is the advocate for that one. That one, we didn't have enough reviews and feedback to provide like feedback in time for it to be iterated upon. I'm not sure, Joseph, if there's anything you'd like to say about that issue today.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't like that issue. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Okay, and then lastly, this issue is not one that carried. The only issue that we have prioritized for 1.20 is a new issue that bug folder that Robert filed, issue 5067, an issue with node previews and layout module have their code kind of all mashed together right now. And issue 5067 is an issue to kind of create a new API to decouple those two things. Do you have any updates, Robert, on the state of that issue?
It has a PR. I've tested it. It works. It just needs more eyes on it to make sure I didn't miss anything dumb.
Okay, great. That's that then. It's yet to be decided about kind of when we'll do our next planning meeting. If history is any precedent, it would actually be June 3rd. But we probably need to put some effort around promoting and discussing, like, hey, what items should we prioritize for 1.20, get some people's thoughts on it, and then get that meeting like scheduled so that people are aware that it's happening, so we can have some participation and discussion in that that get together. All right. Let's see, initiatives. Looks like Luke McCormick posted an official initiative summary for the Ready to Wear initiative over in the forum. So thank you, Luke, for putting that together. Looks like that was actually done May 3rd. So that's exciting. That kind of brings Ready to Wear, the Ready to Wear initiative to a close. We also have the Telemetry Initiative that St. Paul Tim is heading up. I don't think that we have any updates for this week, so I won't say more about it at this time. That's kind of it for the things that we have on the agenda. Do you guys have anything you guys would like to bring up and discuss today?
Well, since I was working on it recently, another initiative, the automatic updates, has long been forgotten. I think it's waiting on you, Nate, if I recall correctly. Just
For package signing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, for package signing. Oh goodness, good gravy. Yeah, that is a long time ago that issue has been put down. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll try to take a look at that.
maybe you can advocate for that for 1.20.
Yeah, that would be a great item to pick back up again. The code signing last we left that. I think that I did some work to convert the code signing code that is in, I can't quite remember. There's a core module called code sign, and then there's a addition to project module that is like code signer module that actually does the signing of code. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that to get familiar with it again. It's been a long time. I think there were other things with automatic updates that are also actionable. There's a really nice Drupal 7 module for automatic updates now that I think that we could go and look at the automatic updates module that the Drupal contrib team has put together and see the way in which it works. I know that it has two parts that we could benefit from. One of them is a pre-flight check where it does things like it checks if any core files have been modified, does like a diff type functionality, as well as other things to like make sure that running an automatic update is safe. as best as you can know if it's safe to run an automatic update. So those pre-flight checks would be very valuable for us. And secondly, I haven't confirmed this, but assuming that the Drupal 7 automatic updates work fully, I'm really curious how update.php fires, how database updates are fired, because right now that's the problematic thing that we have. We have core self-updating that actually works pretty well, but it's a manual operation. It only works right now though because there's a user right there who can visit update.php after core has been updated. So how that works in the contrib version, I'd be really interested to find out. All right. Well, let's call it a meeting then. Thank you
Just
guys
one
all.
question before we go. Sorry. When are we planning for the 119.1? Is it from to the next weekend?
Right. So 119.1, what we normally do is two weeks after the release. Yeah. So it would be, next weekend would be the likely time for it to happen, somewhere around there.
Do
Not
we
next,
have
the one after that. Not this coming, the one after that.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Do
But
we have a pull request yet for that issue? No, so there's
No.
nothing in 119.1 yet. So we need to get that fixed. And so if it's not fixed by next week, then we'll do the release as soon as it's fixed.
right, that's what I was going to say as well, is that if we can get that backup and migrate issue to a happy resolution, as of right now, that's the only thing that we know of that is a serious regression. And so if we get that problem fixed to everyone's satisfaction, we may do a release immediately, sooner than that. I mean, but I kind of doubt that it'll be faster than that normal 2-week timeline. So, and if we don't fix that backup and migrate issue, there might not be any reason for a 119.1 release if there's not other substantial fixes in there. So the 2 weeks after the 119 release is usually like if necessary. It's all a little bit fuzzy. It really depends on if it makes sense. Yep, but I definitely would say that should be our number one thing is trying to fix that regression with backup and migrate, and take a look at what Drupal 7 is doing, the core and backup and migrate sides, as well as working with our maintainer, Quackers ate me, which is a hilarious username, who is actively looking for solutions right now in the contrib version of backup and migrate for Backdrop. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for being here, and thank you everybody out there on the internet who watches these meetings. So we'll catch you guys all next week.
Thanks.
Bye.